And we are back on the Conversation Corner with your host, author Andrew Snorton. Again, we are on the Status Network, the live TV channel. And we are going to go ahead and move into our current guest. And we were kidding around, ladies and gentlemen, but it's all love and it's all good humor. But Jerry McRae, in addition to being a media specialist, librarian, actor, community advocate, author, is actually the first non-Alpha Phi Alpha member to ever appear. Yes. So shouts to our kinfolk from Bloomington, Indiana, IU, January 5th.
January 5th.
Exactly. Achievement. So you are definitely the epitome of achievement, good sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's get our viewers engaged in interacting and understanding a few of your steps in order to get here. So what were some key or pivotal moments that allowed you to go ahead and move in the direction you're moving?
A pivotal moment was when my son was born. Camren, my first son, he was my motivation to start actually being an author. The inspiration came from him because my dad, he was actually a great father. But I actually lost my dad when I was 12 years old. Mm-hmm. But in that short amount of time, my dad, he did a lot of things with me. He taught me a lot of things. And he also showed me what it was to be a man. And I wanted to carry that legacy on with my son.
Okay, so as that bridge, and one of the first things you mentioned was an author. So let's talk a little bit about your book, Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist. And I'll go ahead and hold this up here. So like you said, you learned some valuable life lessons from your father. Mm-hmm. You're making sure to integrate those in regards to with your son, but how did you move to that next step of putting that in book form to help engage and interact and empower other people?
Well, I've always been a writer. I started out writing at an early age. I started winning a lot of contests actually in high school. And then on top of that, I graduated with a degree in creative writing and English.
Okay.
So I've always loved writing, and I thought I just want the world to see this.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I reached out to a few publishers. I told them my idea. I had a lot of kickbacks, and then I had a lot of people that really loved it. And then I met this really good publisher in North Carolina, and he really loved my idea. And I had another friend here in Atlanta who actually was a great illustrator. And all African American guys, they're really good stand-up guys. And I thought we gotta show this to the world. Mm-hmm. So I put all my ideas and my thoughts together, and the book became a reality.
So share with us, really, it sounds like the combination of the life lessons, getting reignited with your son, mm-hmm. being able to see what is a way that I can help share these life lessons. So share with us the inroads you've been able to make with your book, because just looking at the title right there should be a conversation piece. So walk us through the inroads and the audiences that you're able to engage with to help really bring in some much needed, we'll just say, life lessons.
Okay. First off, there's like three basic points that I want to get at. They're not points that I just made up. I'm actually a librarian, an academic librarian, so
okay.
I do my research. So I have three key points that I really want everybody to know. The first key point comes from the U.S. Department of Health. It reports that 63% of teen suicides come from fatherless homes. 90% of runaways and homeless children comes from fatherless homes. Another statistic, 71% of high school dropouts comes from fatherless homes. And these are real stats from our U.S. government. And these problems can be tackled if we actually handle our responsibilities and mm-hmm. actually be fathers, be real men. And that's what I'm tackling in the book. Also, the importance of an education, the importance of family just spending time together and sticking together, the importance that a man should teach his child about financial stability. You need to be prepared throughout your whole life. Those are like some key points that I tackle in this book.
And it's interesting that you go ahead and mention those, because a number of those key points are some of the things, like you said, just from wearing your hat as a librarian, as a researcher, looking at the data, interpreting the data, and what are you making of it, and then what can I do to help chip away at some of these things. You make an interesting point. It is your presence and not always the presence. And especially during the holiday season, like you said before, it's almost like after the gifts have come and gone, it's your consistent presence.
Right.
And it seems like that is definitely one of the central themes that you've mentioned.
Exactly.
Share with us now, this is your first book.
It's my first book.
Share with us some of the, whether book festivals or signings that you have done. And then do you have any signings that you have on the horizon?
I've done some at the African American Book Fest. I've also done some at Gwinnett Baptist Church.
Okay.
I've done a couple at a couple of churches. And then there's also Casey Vennon. She has a lot of book festivals that I participate in as well. And when it comes to philanthropy, I've also given back my money that I actually made from my book to a local church in Gwinnett County.
Okay.
And that church is the name of that church. Sorry, it slipped my mind. But,
they know who they know. So,
Yeah,
folks,
yeah.
he hasn't forgotten. It's just when you have as active and engaging a mind, and your focus is really on, again, the term planting seeds.
Right.
And engaging with people.
Grace Point Community Church.
There you go. There
Grace
you go.
Point Community Church. Shout out to Grace Point Community Church. I didn't forget you. Kind of a shaky moment right now.
Hey, look, charge it to his head and not to his heart,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen. And let me ask you this. As you have been able to support, like I said, give back, which is something that I know that I've been able to do with some of the work that I've done, giving back to these entities. When you're engaging and interacting, what has been the response? And I know you said earlier, and this is true, as you're getting to this point, there's going to be pushback. Oh, you don't need to do this, blah, blah, blah. But you, kind of borrowing from what our previous guest said, you had a vision and you focused on executing that vision. Right. So now that this vision is reality, what has been the response? Especially with some of the topics that are needed. So what's been the response thus far?
Actually, it's been an overall positive response. I have fathers that actually come up to me and say, man, we need this in our community. We needed our voice to be heard. Also, every Monday on Facebook and Instagram, I have huge groups, followings up to 6,000. Followers.
That's huge.
That follow me every week, and they support me. Shout out to all my followers. Black Fathers Are Real, we do exist on both social media sites. I highlight a real father, not a celebrity, not nobody you ever heard of, but real fathers in our communities that are really there for their kids, and they spend time with their kids, and they're proud of being a good father and showing their kids the right way.
Now, pivoting slightly in regards to author, and I know two of the other hats you wear are as a librarian and a researcher, and that definitely comes out, especially when you're talking about some of the key data. And as an actor, share with us, let's say on the acting end, real briefly, what's some of the things that you have done, and what's one thing that's on the horizon as wearing the hat as an actor?
Bad Moms 2. I'm actually in that movie. Right now, I'm trying to get like some bigger roles. Right now, I'm doing a whole lot of background work. Okay. So I'm getting my experience up, my foot in the door. I'm learning the business, and I'm actually learning all the takes and what it takes to be an actor. Right now, well, Bad Moms 2. Have you ever heard of Tales from BET?
Have not,
Okay,
but I have now.
It's produced by Herb Gotti. I'm in that. A couple of other shows. I'm in The Hate That You Give.
Okay.
The Hate You Give. I'm the guy in the red hoodie. I like bash out the car window.
Oh, wow.
You can't really tell it's me, but it's me.
Look, if you look at the closing credits, you're going to see Jerry McRae on there. So definitely. But it sounds like even now, in being the researcher that you are, you're taking a practical approach. It's like, if I'm going to be in this and do this for a while and get to those bigger spaces, I've got to understand how all these moving parts work.
Right.
And it's really, like you're saying, it's really a process, because some people are like, oh, I can just show up and do something. It's like, and as a researcher, it doesn't always work that way. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, and this is a theme that's come out with other guests: patience, persistence, and perseverance. Share with our audience, just in general, regardless of the hat you wear, as a parent, as an author, as a librarian, as a researcher, as an actor, share with us, what do you do through those lenses of, patience, persistence, and perseverance to help get you where you are, and then knowing that that's a springboard that's going to help you get to where you're trying to go?
When it comes to patience and perseverance, not to toot my own horn, but today I actually won a customer service award.
Hey, that's
at
good.
my library. I feel like that everyone should know that they matter. When it comes to your kids, they should know that they matter. You should spend a great amount of time with your kids and showing them that you're there, showing them the right way that they should go, doing great things for them. When it comes to like my customers and my students that come in, you should show them that they care. You should go the extra mile to help them out and get their research done. And all walks of life, like, you should just show people that they matter. And I think that's what's going to help me, like, in the long run. Mm-hmm. I guess, like, when you go the extra mile, you would show people that you're worth opening the door. So maybe if I let's say that I was at the Hate You Give, I was there for like over my hours, and I came back when I was supposed to come back. Well, they asked me to come back for another shooting, which I wasn't supposed to be at, but they saw my extra effort. And I mean, like, it opens different doors for you when you go the extra mile.
So it sounds like that extra mile parallels one of those old school sayings: hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to work hard.
Right.
Of course, you want to work smart.
Yeah.
but bringing a work ethic, and even just in talking with you, and this is with every guest, but you can feel the passion you have, understanding your purpose, being a person of principle, and especially understanding that what you do, you've got somebody that might not always say it, but is paying real close attention to what you're doing. So definitely commend you for all the hard work that you're putting in, and continue to do so. As we're getting close to bridging, because we're definitely going to bring our first guest back, and we got a couple other moving parts we want to handle. Share with us real quickly, on the horizon, especially in regards to your book, what is on the horizon for your next scheduled book signing or festival that you're going to end up appearing? Or is that something that's still a work in progress?
That's still a work in progress, but I actually do have a second book coming out, and it's titled Camren and Brianna's Tour of Atlanta. This is also it's focused on the African American aspect. It's focusing on different places in Atlanta that has African American lineages, different businesses that were raised up here in Atlanta, different landmarks that you might not think have African American lineages. That's what this book focuses on. And Camren and Brianna are my daughter and son, so they're visiting these different places.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So as we go ahead and draw this part to a close, and before we take our next break, please let our viewers know the best ways to engage with you and keep track of the good work you're doing.
The best ways you can engage with me on Facebook, Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist. I have a group there. You're welcome to join. Also on Instagram, Black Fathers Do Exist. You're welcome to follow me, and I will try to follow you back.
Okay, so at this point in time, we're going to take our next pause and our next break. This is Jerry McRae, as you see, well-rounded person trying to achieve in every field of human endeavor. So you had to shout you all out. So we're going to go ahead and take a pause for the cause, and when we come back, this will be your time for you to call in to engage with our guests. We're going to do a couple of other quick PSAs, engage with our guests, and then draw our last segment to a close. So sit tight, and you're on the Conversation Corner with your host, author Andrew Snorton. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and as we have both of our guests back, and before we do our group recap, there's a couple of quick public service announcements that I'll make sure to run real quick. First off is for Divas and Dolls. This is the event that was mentioned at our previous show by Faya celebrity host Tyra Satai. So this Divas and Dolls is a great event that's taking place in multiple cities across the United States. Very excited to announce that Tamika Tiny Harris, that's right, from T.I. and Tiny, the Family Hustle, is actually lending support as she'll be doing a special event on December 22nd here in Atlanta. But as you see on screen, Divas and Dolls, great event hosted by Tyra Satai, who was one of my guests last time, who is the brand manager for Doug E. Fresh, brand and road manager for Doug E. Fresh. So make sure to check that out. Our next PSA that I want to make sure that we announce is done by Lady Sonia, and this is the Music is Giving event, a decade of excellence. So this coming Sunday, December 16th, is going to be their 10th year of doing music instruction. And not only that, It's a black tie affair, ladies and gentlemen. So fellas break out the tuxes, ladies bring out the awesome gowns and whatnot. As you see right here for the Decade of Sound with Lady Sonia music. And again, they are launching the Music is Giving Foundation. So the proceeds from this event will help establish this nonprofit that provides support for students in regards to business, entrepreneurship, and music. And you see right here, the mad violinist, 6-time Grammy-nominated award artist, is going to be the headliner. So make sure to check that out. And as we go ahead and pivot, please don't forget to pay attention to the ticker ads that are scrolling on the bottom of the screen. We've got some awesome businesses, awesome events, so make sure to take part in those. So now we are back as we're doing our closeout time with both of our guests, Mr. Willie Cartwright, Mr. Jerry McRae. You've heard these guys are really doing some awesome things, ladies and gentlemen. And we kid around a little bit regarding our fraternity ties, but real talk, we have to have multiple ways to reach multiple audiences. So we want to make sure that we embrace and support both of these gentlemen. Mr. Cartwright, now one of the questions that came up on here in regards to your book, let's see, Sherry Clark asked, will Willie and his wife write a book about marriage and entrepreneurship? Have you heard that question before?
We've heard that question before. We've talked to, a lot of people have talked to us. Just a little background. My wife and I, we've been married for 13 years. We run our business together, so we work together. We see each other together. People joke that, we're always together, but that's fine. We love each other. We really like each other, and we love each other. We've talked about it briefly a few times, but it may be something that we might really look into.
So that might be something on the horizon. So in other words, just like you're planting seeds, some of your folks are planting seeds on you. Jerry, to go back again a little bit, like you said, you're doing great work with your current book, but you're already working on book number 2. Remind our viewers again, what are some of the key focal areas for your upcoming book?
The key focal areas of my upcoming book, they're focusing on different places in Atlanta with African American lineages. And we talk about different businesses as well, like the Bronner Brothers. We're also talking about Mary Mac's Tea Room, also Busy Bee, different places like that that you might not hear in the that gets national spotlight, but they're very important places here in Atlanta.
So it sounds like what you're doing is not only are you continuing to work through the lens of family, but also in regards to some of these, they might be locally known, and there are some spots that might be known on a broader scale, but there's some uncovered jewels or gems, or to use terminology, there's some uncovered diamonds in the rough, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. Look at you. I need to work with you a little bit more often. So, gentlemen, one of the key things that both of you talked about directly and indirectly is your sense of vision. And remind our viewers, Jerry, what's one thing that you do that helps you maintain your vision in regards to this is where I'm really trying to go?
I think it all comes to the perspective of having a positive outlook on myself and a positive outlook on my race. I feel like Black fathers are very important in our community and very important in the world. And also when it comes to African Americans, I feel like there's been so much negativity on our race that people tend to overlook the great aspects and positive aspects that we have brought to the world. And I just want to highlight different things in our community that's worth sharing and worth other people knowing about.
And it sounds like part of your vision, what encompasses part of your vision, is changing that narrative and changing that paradigm. Right. So that way you can counter and say, wait a minute, there's examples that are out here. Willie, what would you say is one key thing that you do that helps you maintain your vision? I know, and I'm going to repeat what you said in your book, don't allow what you see to determine your vision. What is something that you do that helps you make sure that you're maintaining that? I know that's part of your motto and your mission, but what are some things that you do to help you maintain that?
Well, I'm a planner, so I write down everything. So it's important for me to always remember the larger picture, the goal at the end, because I look at it as a war, figuratively, metaphorically. Getting to your goal, I look at it as a war. And during that journey, there's going to be battles that you lose, but you have to stay focused on the end goal, which is winning the war. You may lose a battle, but you win the war. So from a planning standpoint, I'm also a quantitative person. I have a degree in finance, so everything to me is measurable. So if it's not measurable, then there's no way to track it. So there's goals, there's 3-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, and there's goals for different aspects of my life. And I use quantitative measures to make sure that I reach those goals, always remembering the end, keeping the end in mind.
And that's very powerful because, as a number of our guests have said previously, like you both acknowledge, there's going to be challenges that are out there, and that's part of what comes with the territory. And like you said before, what you just said, you're going to take a couple of L's every once in a while. And I think all of us on here can talk about some things that have gone smooth as sandpaper, for lack of a better term. But even with those moments, and this is something that previous guests have said, which is awesome that you're building on this particular narrative, you don't stay stuck there. And when I think about your statement, you could have stayed stuck where you were, but you chose not to. And the same thing on your end, you could have stayed stuck in certain situations, and you both chose not to. And because of that, that's part of what, when you're speaking with different churches and whatnot, makes you so solid. And then with what you're doing as a motivational speaker, and one of the things that we said, you're trying to plant seeds. You're not just, okay, let me make you feel good for that moment, and it's back to the same old, same old. So that's really important. On the horizon, the proverbial, where do you see yourself as this year's coming to a close? And I know some people have their New Year's goals and whatnot, but where do you see yourselves, where do you want to see yourself go, this time next year?
This time next year, I'll see myself in different venues. This past year, I've been in, when it comes to churches and different book festivals. In addition to that, I've also read to different children. When it comes to Shelter in Arms, I've been to Shelter in Arms Learning Academy. I've read to students there. Also, Kip Way's Academy here in Atlanta.
Okay.
I've also read to students there and participated in book festivals there. I see myself participating more with children, and also getting more out in the community and meeting more fathers and try to have different events with real fathers.
Awesome. Willie, this time next year, where do you see yourself going as part of your journey?
My wife and I, we will continue with our, what I call main business. We have other business endeavors in mind that we're planning for. Obviously, the motivational speaking, we're looking for that to pick up and do more speaking engagements from that standpoint. Basically, just continuing what we're doing. If you allow me just 1 second, one thing I like to do is I like to commend you on your book, your idea.
Thank you.
In my book, one of the things I talk about is never meeting my biological father and how that affected me. And also having a horrible relationship with my stepfather for a number of years that he was in my life. So I think what you're doing is extremely important, especially for our people. So again, as I get older, I appreciate the relationships when I see between a black father and his son, because I never have that. I never had that, and I never will have that because I don't have any kids either. So I never experienced it, and I never will have an opportunity to experience that. But as a mentor, and as a motivational speaker, I've seen how that being there has influenced those kids in the right way, and how not having a father there has influenced them in the wrong way. So kudos to you. Definitely appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Definitely. And as we bridge this, because we know we want to make sure to give time for our next show that's coming up. So Cy, tell us, Cy, you're awesome. Thanks. I'm going to do better, real talk. Real quickly, close out with the best ways to get in contact. Then best ways to get in contact. I'll close out with me, and then we're going to basically call it.
I'll make it real quick. The book is called Upward Journey. You can get it on my website, williecartwrightspeaks.com, Willie with an I-E. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it on our hair care product website, healthyhairjourney.com.
Okay. And Jerry?
My book is called Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist. You can find me on social media at Black Fathers Do Exist on Instagram, and also Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist on Facebook. I also had like a extra little pitch, if I may.
Real quick, because
Okay, had a
I
little
know.
extra pitch right here. I can't find the page, but on page 38 of this book, there is a part where I'm shaking hands with Mr. Tyler Perry. So if anybody knows Mr. Tyler Perry, let him know that there's a great author here who's interested in making this out of a cartoon.
Hey,
so
we'll
thank
put that out there. And real quick, let me go ahead and close out real quickly. Again, we are very appreciative of all of our viewers, for all of your support, for all of our shows. As a real quick reminder to keep track of me on Facebook, that's author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, author A. Snorton. You can email me at authorasnorton@gmail.com. And what we're going to do is, since it's getting about that time, we need to go ahead and transition so we can prep for the next show, which is going to be Cy Tell Us. Many thanks to everybody who helped make this happen. And as we get ready to ride out into the sunset, this is author Andrew Snorton, the host of the Conversation Corner. And until next time, which will be December 26th, let's have a conversation. Take good care.